Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you've never seen my face before, my name is Ken and I'm a lover of all things music, film, television, literature, and all things pop culture in general. Before we get into this video, please be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons because those are very important things to do here on YouTube and I would very much appreciate it. So today we're going to be talking about the Tom and Jerry movie. Now off the bat, I want to address, I know live action versions of animated films are controversial. A lot of people do not like them because they feel come up with new ideas. Why rehash what we've already seen? I, on the other hand, I thoroughly enjoy them. I love revisiting these stories and seeing a more modern retelling of it or what else they can incorporate to the story. And I mean, it's just fun to see it with the new updated technology that we have. Now, with that being said, I was skeptical when it came to this Tom and Jerry live action movie because, I mean, for starters, Tom and Jerry don't talk, so how can they really carry a movie by themselves? Which we're gonna get into. Also, with that being said, I'm a fan of the franchise, so I did not want to see them tarnish the legacy that is Tom and Jerry in any way. So I truly did not think that a live-action Tom and Jerry movie would be successful. But boy was I wrong, because this movie exceeded my expectations. This is a very fun, feel-good movie for all ages. The whole family can sit down and watch it together. It's a great intergenerational activity where old fans and new fans can come together and bond over this movie. Like I said earlier, I'm a fan of this franchise, so I have a personal attachment to Tom and Jerry because when I was a kid, me, my father, and my sister used to sit down every weekend and watch new Tom and Jerry episodes, from the original Tom and Jerry to Tom and Jerry Tales to the movies that they had, which is why I closely inspected every aspect of this movie. So let's start with the setting. This movie is supposed to be in NYC, and I think that was a great choice. I really like that the movie didn't just say, oh, we're in NYC, and then move on. No, throughout the movie, they made it known and reminded the audience, hey, this movie is in NYC, and we're gonna show you different known NYC locations. We're gonna reference different things about the city. We're gonna show you Tom on a subway car. Like, just imagine that moment. Imagine how fun it is to see Tom riding the subway, and then getting out at Central Park. There's a moment in the beginning when seeing Tom and Jerry out in public, the public's reaction to them is, well, a lot of weird stuff happens in this city, which I just love because as a New Yorker myself, I love when media plays into that NYC culture. Now you may be wondering, how can Tom and Jerry work with real humans? How can you put these two animated characters who don't speak into a world with real life people surrounding them? And to answer your question, the movie really thought that through because instead of just placing Tom and Jerry into this world where they wouldn't fit in, all of the animals in this world are animated, which makes Tom and Jerry just seem normal. Now, the only thing about that is most of the animals talked and some didn't. Primarily Tom and Jerry, but there's also another character we're going to get into that doesn't talk as well. So deciding on why some of them can talk and some of them can't, that's a question I have for the movie that I still wish would have been answered. They made a lot of jokes and references towards it, but never a direct answer. So while we're on the topic of the animals, let's talk about the most notable ones throughout the film. Starting with the pigeons. So the pigeons are used in the beginning of the movie and then they make another appearance somewhere towards the middle. Now every time the pigeons show up, they're always used in the same manner, which I think is a very clever way to use them and another enjoyable way to remind you, hey, we're in NYC, where the pigeon is a very notable animal here. And whenever we're going to show them on screen, it's for a purpose. It's going to further the movie through the way that we're using them. Overall, I really enjoyed their presence in the movie. Now, on the more important characters who had a little bit more screen time, not only did we get Tom and Jerry, but we also got Spike and Toodles, which for my OG Tom and Jerry fans, you know, those are also two characters from the animated series. So let's start with Spike. Spike is voiced by Bobby Cannavale. And let me tell you, he nailed that performance. Spike is exactly how you remember him from the cartoon. Very fun, very into the antics with Tom and Jerry. And besides Tom and Jerry, out of all the animal characters, Spike is the one who had the most fun moments with the human characters. Now let's get into Toodles. Toodles was never a very important character in the animated series, which is why they probably felt comfortable shifting her personality in this movie. But I think the personality shift really worked and it really made her character more enjoyable. While before in the animated series, she came off more as like just a female cat that Tom was trying to woo. Here, that wasn't even a primary focus. In this movie, Toodles had a very strong personality. She's also the only animal character besides Tom and Jerry who does not speak at all. But even without speaking, Toodles was able to capture the audience attention in every single scene she was in. That's how much personality they put into her character. Now, to close off the topic of the animal characters, let's discuss the two main ones, Tom and Jerry. So let's start with Tom. While Tom does not speak, he does sing at some point in the movie, which was done by T-Pain. He did a lovely job. And there are devil and the angel shoulder moments throughout the movie, voiced by Little Rel for Tom. And I specifically like these moments because it really helped explain the frenemy dynamic between Tom and Jerry. Because without the devil and the angels on the shoulders, it would seem like there's no real reason for Tom to be so flip-floppy towards his relationship with Jerry. But because of them, it came off as very like, he's really actively thinking this through on how he wants to go about interacting with Jerry. Loved that about his character. Jerry I specifically enjoyed because they really developed his character a little bit further and gave him traits in this movie that may have been slightly present in animated series, but it was really brought to the forefront of his character this time around. And these traits that they gave Jerry really helped push the story forward throughout the movie. They also gave him a little mouse house in the movie. It was a beautiful sight. In fact, they really did not give him enough screen time in his house, which I wish they would have done that, but it's not a big deal. Their frenemy dynamic was the same as always. It was good, true old Tom and Jerry. Now, the best moment between the two of them, I would say, was when they went out to the city together, which was the case where we really got to see this is NYC, while also displaying their frenemy dynamic. And I thought that it was a very fun way to go about seeing them bond. And it also in the end leads into the third act of the movie. You know, I would say their day out together was probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. It was just classic Tom and Jerry. And that's when you really begin to get more of a grasp on their relationship, where they're frenemies, but they're way more friends than you might give them credit for. It's just the enemy parts come into just fun. It's not hatred or anger. It's just practical jokes, you know? Just a little teasing here and there. So now to transition from this point, let's talk about the criticism I've seen this movie get. So a lot of critics did not enjoy the human characters in this movie because, as you may know, Tom and Jerry never really focused on humans. It was always about Tom, Jerry, and then occasionally their other animal friends and enemies. However, I think that the human characters in this movie greatly contributed to the success I felt this film is. The whole cast is incredibly diverse and talented. Like, these are real legit actors, and every single one of them did their part, from the smallest role to the biggest one. And again, the fact that it is set in NYC, it makes sense that the cast has to be so diverse, because if not, it just would not feel authentic to what this city is. So now let's get into some more of the supporting cast. We have Ken Jeong, which he's always a fun addition to any movie, so you can't be mad at that, but he doesn't have a lot of screen time, full warning. The moments he does have, though, is pretty fun, specifically in the third act. We also have Daniel Adegboyega, who also does not get a lot of screen time, but the reason I want to bring him up is because not only did he do a good job, but his character really stood out through his interactions with Chloe Grace Moretz's character. So pay close attention to their interaction because it really comes full circle from the beginning of the movie to the end. Next up, we have Jordan Bolger. Jordan was a very good addition to this film and really contributed to the success of it, which is why I wish he would have gotten more scenes. Just like Adegboyega, Jordan Bolger's interactions with Chloe Grace Moretz really worked. And it was really nice to see the way that his character and her character just understood each other and was able to just really be there for each other. It was a really good male balance for Chloe Grace. Next up, we have my personal favorite supporting character in the film, Joy the Bell Girl, played by Patsy Farron. I think that this actress did so incredible with what she was given. She really gave a lot of personality and quirkiness to Joy, and Joy actually was sprinkled throughout the film in very fun comedic ways. In fact, I was so impressed by her portrayal of this character that I really want to see her get more work, and I want to see what other projects she's been in, because I've never seen this actress before. After I watched the movie, I looked her up real quick. I think that she's from Spain or Colombia, somewhere around there. I'll put the right answer somewhere. But she is talented and she is one to watch. We also have Rob Delaney, who is just the owner of the hotel. His performance is very over the top and fun, which is not usually my favorite type of acting, but for this movie and for the role that he had, it worked very, very well, and I think that he did a great job of what he was given as well. Which, as you may have noticed already, is a consistent theme throughout the movie. All the actors did a very fantastic job. What I also really enjoyed about his character is him being the middleman between Michael Pena's character and Chloe Grace Moretz's. The scenes with them three, he was really able to shine and provide a lot of comedy, which is hard when you're put against Chloe Grace Moretz, I mean, she's been in so many movies, she's so talented, but we'll get to her. And Michael Pena as well. So he really handled himself well, balancing between the three of them. Now we got Colin Jost, which for those of you who don't know, that's Scarlett Johansson's husband, and Pallavi Sharda. So these two play a couple that reminds me personally of Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra. When you watch it, let me know down below if you agree. But that's the vibes that I got from both of them. Overall, both of them did a great job. They were both fun characters. They really were a cute, fun, good couple, which had their issues, but it's still a family movie. It wasn't over the top. It wasn't toxic. It was just a small issue they had to work through, and the movie was just really centered around them. I think they both did a really good job at serving as main plot points throughout the movie, and I hope both of them get more work from this as well. Now let's get into the lead live actors roles. So let's start with Michael Pena. Michael Pena did a good job. I think he really sold his character and delivered a great performance. And while in the first and second acts of the movie, he was just a fun, uptight person who clashed with Chloe's character, in the third act he really stepped up and became a central plot point in the movie. He did a very good job at maintaining control and balancing his performance with Chloe Grace's. Their relationship specifically really paralleled Tom and Jerry's, which I think was a really nice touch for the movie, and it really connected the animal side of it to the human side of it. Now let's get into Chloe Grace. I am personally a huge fan of this girl. She's an amazing actress, which is why she's been in so many movies. And her performance in this movie is nothing less than stellar. I think this is one of the best performances she ever gave because she just had a lot of fun with it, and you could tell. And usually I have an issue with the main protagonist of any movie, show, book, video game, anything. I tend to like more of the secondary characters. But her character was a great lead. She had a lot of good qualities to her that made me really enjoy her throughout the movie. But I also think a lot of the credit for that character has to go to Chloe Grace, because had another actress done this role, I do not know if I would have enjoyed her as much. But the way that Chloe Grace performed this role, it was very much like you couldn't take your eyes off of this character. You always wanted to see her on screen. Overall, I think another reason this movie works so much is because the interactions between the animated characters and the live action characters are so well done. And that mainly comes down to every actor's performance, because each actor, like I said, was very talented, and they gave a lot of space in the scenes for the animators to work with, and their timing was spot on. The actors knew exactly what to do at what point, and it really showed that they were on the same page as the animators, and everybody collaborated well to form the end product that is this movie. Also, when you watch this movie, I want you to just sit back, relax, and notice how funny and self-aware this movie is. The fact that this movie is so self-aware about where it's taking place, who's in it, the fact that it's a hybrid movie with live action and animated, I think adds a lot to the fun. And if you pay attention to every little joke they make about themselves, it makes the movie even more enjoyable. This movie is very true to the original source material. It feels like classic Tom and Jerry, but with modern touches, such as the human characters, which is why I also think it was so essential for the human characters to be there, because, like I said earlier, Tom and Jerry cannot balance a full movie like this by themselves, especially because they don't speak. But having such a talented cast there with them, it allowed the live action actors to do heavy lifting, which allowed Tom and Jerry to just have fun. It allowed room for the animators to go wild and just do true Tom and Jerry material. Now, can this movie have a sequel? I personally have really thought about this. There is a little end credit scene, but it doesn't leave room for a sequel. It's just a fun scene. I think if a sequel never gets made and this is the only Tom and Jerry movie, that is okay. This is a good standalone movie, it works. However, I think there is room to continue this story and to make another one. Now, if they were to make a sequel, while I would love to see the whole cast return because I enjoyed them so much, I think maybe it would be more beneficial to just keep Tom and Jerry and then move them somewhere else and get a new human cast. I would love to see where Chloe Grace's character ends up and how her relationship grows with the rest of the characters after her story arc throughout this movie, which I'm not going to say too much about, but she definitely wrangles the line of trust between everyone. So I would love to see her character further explored, but I would be nervous that they might ruin it if they try to keep all these people in it again. So to compromise and make the best of both worlds, my recommendation would be keep the whole cast, but change the location. Like make a reason that they have to go somewhere else. Like they're opening up a new hotel somewhere else and they need to go check it out. That way it's still adding a fresh layer to the movie while maintaining all the talent that we saw in this movie. So that's my review of Tom and Jerry the movie. I would love to hear your thoughts down below about this film. Be sure to be respectful. You can disagree, you can have different opinions, you could hate this movie, you could love it, but share that respectfully down in the comments. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions. Also, with that being said, this is my opinion about the movie. Other people I've seen have their negative ones. But I would tell everybody, be an individual first and come up with your own opinion about the movie. I know a lot of people like to just, if a movie starts getting hate, or if a person or a song, whatever it is, when something starts getting hate, people love jumping on the hate train and they think that's the cool thing to do, that's the fun thing to do. And a lot of people get stuck in that mindset and lose their own personal thoughts and opinions. So my advice to you, don't get sucked into a hate train, come up with your own thoughts first. So again, before you click off this video, make sure that you like and subscribe. Those are very important things to do here on YouTube. Comment down below your thoughts on the movie and make sure you hit that post notification bell because these are all important things to do on YouTube and it really helps my channel grow. So thank you for watching, have a good day, and peace out.